Hello and welcome to today's broadcast. My name is Sebastian Lennartsson and I am the Nordic commercial trainer for Microsoft. So in my role, I constantly work with helping tech data empower you resellers and in the end, the customers with great technology. Together with me here today, I have Alexander Pontikis from Tech Data. Could you just please give a brief introduction of yourself?
Absolutely, Sebastian. It feels great to be here. My name is Alexander Pontikis, and I'm the Nordic product manager on Tech Data, handling the Windows and Office and some of the Microsoft 365 products, along with the Adobe line of products.
Nice. Thank you for joining us. And Lars Hegnelt, you are also a part of today's session. Could you please just give us a brief introduction to yourself as well?
Sure thing, Sebastian, and so happy to join you two superstars in the studio, even if I am joining remotely. My name is Lars Hegnelt, and I am the Nordic OEM category manager for server at Microsoft. So basically handling all. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Sorry. So basically, I'm responsible for driving the server business for Microsoft with all our partners throughout the Nordics.
Nice, awesome stuff, very much indeed. And today, of course, we are battled by challenges. We see that the commercial landscape is, of course, in a constantly developing times. This is something that we have seen even prior to the COVID-19 crisis. We saw that the expectations for remote work, for productivity, have been very much at large increasing. We see companies who need to have updated security solutions. They need to have updated productivity solutions to make sure that they can battle the cognitive overload and the challenges in their workplace. So Alexander, I just got to ask you, since you are working very much indeed in the hybrid environment, talking to a lot of customers, how do you experience the hybrid workplace?
Well, Sebastian, I think I experienced it the way as a lot of the customers done. I think the hybrid workplace is here to stay. For some of us, it's work as normal. So it has been a new question as well as a reactualizing question. So the hybrid workplace affects us in everything from like the demand for bigger homes, less demand for transportation, more demand, as you say, for everything from video conferencing solutions to remote work solutions. So what we're hearing is this transition has, I guess, for most of us worked well, but there are still, of course, sectors who are yet to be accustomed to this transition.
And from the customers, what kind of questions do you get in your daily work from customers around hybrid work and those challenges?
Well, first of all, I mean, I think focus and also being able to focus more at home is a good thing, one of the positive things. The small, let's say, the small huddles which you do when you're on the workplace discussing everything that comes to mind when you see a particular person, let's say in the pantry or the cafeteria, you miss those moments. And as of now, the restrictions are alleviating. We get to see more of that, so it's a relief. But I think it's both positive and negative. It's easier to work for a longer period of time at home, and that could induce a stress. And it could also sometimes induce a stress not being able to have a second opinion from your colleagues, and you tend to work too much in a silo.
Yeah, so very much indeed. And I think everyone here can agree upon the fact that it is a great, nice tool to be able to work from wherever at whatever time, but it is not always as simple as it sounds. I would just like to ask you, while we're on this subject, Alexander, if you could just give some concretized tips for people around managing their productivity in this kind of environment. What would those be?
Yeah, I guess it's an individual question, but I mean, one thing is focusing and shutting down your email. I think it's having a constant track of your email all the time kind of puts you in a reactive mode. and it stops you a little bit from what you're doing in that instance. And try to work more with RSVP and Teams and Outlook more. And does everything need to involve a meeting? Perhaps not. I mean, try to not only schedule in focus time, but when a meeting is unavoidable, try to recognize the function which I saw in the latest update about Outlook. Does a meeting really have to be 60 minutes, or could it be shortened down to 45 minutes? Try to work more collaboratively with all the wonderful functions that we have in SharePoint and Teams. So let's work collaboratively on the document where everybody can be involved, instead of working on a document yourself and then send it on an already old version over to your colleagues through email. We discussed in our earlier webinars around PDF and e-signing in the Microsoft suite through the Adobe and Microsoft partnership, that we can utilize more functions in Word, for instance, and in Teams to handle agreements, handle agreements in real time and send agreements directly from Word. So use plugins, try to schedule focus time, and be, let's say, modest, be moderate with your email time.
That's very much indeed important topics. And why I was asking these kind of questions is also because I think it's a great example of the amount of data that we are trying to handle. We are trying to push through more information than ever. And of course, this is great. It is essential for enabling, for example, the COVID-19 vaccine. We see that it has been developed in an immense speed. And this thanks to the possibility for medtech corporations to collaborate across borders, cross organizations, whilst still protecting their integrity. And when it comes to protection and making sure that your data is safe, it has never been a bigger threat. We just recently discovered that the UN has been compromised from the beginning of May until the beginning of August, where someone was able to buy access via an administered account to walk through their internal systems for 4 months period. Of course, this is something that you want to prevent as a company. You do not want to end up as a bad example, and you for sure do not want to expose your data at a security risk. This kind of brings me into the importance of servers, where you, Lars, of course, is one of the most senior persons I know when it comes to knowledge about the server landscape. So I would like to pick your brains on exactly what you see as the issues on server landscape around outdated servers.
Thanks, Sebastian. Yeah, well, of course, we all want to be innovative and seek the latest innovations and newest applications, want to be upbeat instead into the latest technology, of course. But if we look at the biggest concerns we have, it is security by far. And we need to secure that critical data first, and afterwards we can start talking about implementing new technologies into our infrastructure, right? If we look at the Nordics at the moment, and I've been pitching this for a while now, we see that our customers are still running legacy operating systems like Windows Server 2008 or Windows Server 2003, which are no longer supported, no longer updated, and we don't have any security patches on those. So in fact, if we look at it, we have almost up to 50% of our SMB customers running these outdated versions. If we look at what is actually implementations of implications of running such environments, it's basically, if we look at some numbers, we can see that 20% of our businesses that are running those legacy operating systems will lose customers after an attack. 30% will lose revenue. 40% will of our SMB customers after getting hit by such an attack, when they're losing their critical data, will be out of business within 2 years. And if we take that into account, that almost actually more than 30% of our the attacks we see is actually targeting our SMB segment, that's a massive amount. So we need to make sure that our customers are compliant, that they are looking into like compliance in regards to GDPR rules. We're talking payment card industry. We're talking the healthcare industry. We need to make sure that they're aware of this. And also, of course, as you mentioned before, you talked about remote working. We have a whole new increased, you could say, security risk now with all our employees working remotely. So our employee awareness in regards to security is something that is really, really important. I just want to say, like, if we look worldwide, I know that we have big customers that are getting hit by these attacks, but worldwide, we look at an average cost for a data breach reaching $3.6 million. That will like makes most SMB customers like end of sales, right? So I think that we really now we need to look into making sure we have the latest versions, making sure that we are secure, and afterwards we can talk about all the new features, all the new technology.
Indeed. And I also just want to extend a warm welcome for those of you who just managed to get onto this call. Today's session hosted by Microsoft and Tech Data. And what you just heard was, of course, Lars Hägnell, who is the server OEM responsible from Microsoft, who is giving an overview, because we are today deep diving onto different aspects and challenges in the hybrid workspace. We see that companies are currently being very much stressed at a large extent, where we want to provide them with the solutions they need to battle these challenges. Later on today, we are going to present the new Office 2021 and the new Windows Server 2022. But ramping up to this, we of course want to pick Alexander Pontiki's brain and Lars Hägnell, who is joining us, because these guys, they know their stuff when it comes to challenges in hybrid workspace. And just want to let you know as well that if you want to learn even more, if you want to do a deep dive within one of these topics, I highly recommend that you book a meeting with me or Lars. Tomorrow, you will get an email sent out where you can send me an email. It's an easy link to follow, and you can book a meeting with a time slot that suits you. So, Lars, I just got to ask you a follow-up question, since we do acknowledge the fact that you need to stay secure, you need to protect your endpoints. Could you please, why do you think? Because I'm really struggling to see why companies are not upgrading. Why do you think that companies are not upgrading their legacy server solutions?
Well, Sebastian, I think it's an understandable mindset of our customers that they want to stay with the solutions that they're already comfortable with. They know them like inside out, but of course it's also the fact that they have legacy applications that are running, which will take time, will cost money, like require manpower and key intelligence in order to upgrade those and migrate to a newer operating system. We understand all of those, but what we need to make sure that everyone understands is that this is no longer a matter of will or can. This is a matter of having to upgrade. We're having to migrate your legacy systems into a new infrastructure because of the security risk involved. And then, of course, doing so gives you so many new features, so many 10 years of worth of innovation that we want to tap into, make sure also ensures that your business is as cost effective as possible, building on the latest innovation, and also making sure that you have the best possible management tools available, and just like we're looking at that all together, and it is a very easy decision to make, but we understand, of course, that it takes time, it takes money, and it takes manpower.
All right. Yeah, because it is of course, being secure is not an easy thing. It's not the click of a button, most definitely, in any ways. And then switching over to you, Alexander, because we want to provide everyone here who has joined with some real world advice, some actions that they may be able to take. What are you guys at Tech Data, you guys and girls at Tech Data doing, and how could the customers, the resellers benefit from this?
Well, when it comes to security, the question at hand, I mean, it's a very wide discipline. It spans over many sub-disciplines. We talk about document security, endpoint security, networking, and cloud security. And this is something that Tech Data has been working, if you look out throughout all our other business units for a long time, and also Tech Data takes security very seriously. Both when it comes to our internal processes and repetitive trainings, when it comes to fraud and phishing attempts, and we also have a lot of policies internally that we are enforcing. Some come at a cost of user experience a little bit sometimes, but I guess that's the price you have to pay. I mean, and if you look at Tech Data's vendors, we have approximately 270 vendors in our portfolio, and a lot of those vendors have some sort of software linked to their products in some way, either proprietary software or third-party software, like, I mean, HP, Aruba, Cisco, Dell, Lenovo, you guys at Microsoft, AWS, and Google, just to name a few. They all have a security offering or a security overview, which we lift up and we talk to our customers about, and that excludes the vendors which have a outspoken core business security core business like Sophos, for instance. And last but not least, I mean, the one mark we would like to say here today is another example that we're taking security this seriously is that today. I here today represent, of course, the cloud and software business. We will hence change name going forward, and we will call ourselves Tech Data Cloud Security and Software. And that's kind of exemplifies how, I mean, our resolution around security going forward, and we see it as a self-evident offering in our portfolio. And we also are strengthening the team actually with a Nordic strategic vendor manager who will be joining my team, who will solely be responsible for security offerings, which spans all over our disciplines. His name is Christian Dupont, and he will be joining us. He joined us a few days ago, which is very, very exciting. He will be covering all the areas where security is applicable, and there are many.
Yeah,
areas.
There are many areas, and very much indeed. And I think it's really important to like our function here is, of course, to enable the end users, our customers, the commercial SMB landscape, these small office, home offices, all the people using our products. We do not only want to enable them by having, for example, Microsoft 365 Business Standard with enhanced security features, which are by test just proven just as useful and as safe as an antivirus program. Of course, that's one part of it, but it's about the ecosystem. It's about enabling people with the right control for their business, because security is expensive. You cannot simply think that, yes, let's buy the maximum amount of security, because then you'll have a security system which may be too complicated to handle, which may be overly expensive for your needs. But it's also just as common, if not even more common, that you don't even care about security. And reaching out to Tech Data, talking to you guys at the more security focused department that you now are, is of course a great step on the way, because you are there, you want to help and advise people to the best possible solution, not advise them to the most expensive solution, and definitely not advise them to a solution which won't safeguard them. So with that being said, one step in all of this from our Microsoft standpoint is, of course, to make sure that the commercial users has a platform, a solution which enables them to stay productive and stay secure. It is a great threat towards endpoints. where we see a lot of endpoints being targeted in some of the most spoken about attacks in recent days. With today's webinar, we want to present to you some news that we are launching to Office. Of course, all of these news will not battle solely security aspects, but they are a part of the journey towards creating a safer ecosystem where we can provide the SMB landscape, the small office, home office users with the type of solutions that make sure that their data is protected while they still are being as productive as possible. So without further ado, I would very much like to present to you the new or Microsoft Office 2021. So let's have a look at the following presentation. With the most famous of our Office SKUs, we have been running Office 2019 for quite some years now. 2019 may feel, or 2018 as it was released, may feel like it was kind of recently, but the changes in how we work are very much evident. Many of us did not real-time collaborate. We did not spend all of our days on Teams, but today the reality is quite different. So on this very day, the 5th of October, as we are standing here presenting, this is actually the launch day for the new Microsoft Office Home and Business 2021. And apart from a refresh visual, which is of course not the key essence of today's presentation, we have added some features. We've made sure that Office can meet the need from today's commercial landscape. Of course, in our product offering, Office is only a part of it. Office is the perpetual licenses, the one-time single purchase. You pay a single set amount and you own the license, which can be installed on a single device. This provides the commercial users with tools to be able to battle everyday work. We are talking, of course, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, some of the most important tools to be able to run any type of business, no matter what line of business you are actually operating within. With Office 2021, we have added some extra features, and I don't want to steal my own thunder, so I'm going to try and refrain myself from telling them already. Before we start looking into exactly what the features are, we are going to broaden our view because we do have some additional licenses that we think are equally good for the commercial landscape. If you want to have the classical Office apps that you get in Office, but you also want to enable yourself with business apps that are created for the SMB commercial landscape in mind, I would recommend Microsoft 365 Business Standard. The 365 license, as we all know, is a subscription-based model where you, instead of single purchasing a license, you subscribe to it. You get the regular updates and enhancements to the applications, and it will never reach an end of life in that sense. Instead, you have the type of license you may need to be able to be productive with Office apps, but also with some extra business apps. If you want to find out more about Microsoft 365 and what feature updates has been occurring, for example, how you can create an even better Teams meeting experience with Teams webinar mode, or if you want to find out exactly how you implement bookings with your customers, because bookings is one of the best tools in Microsoft 365, where your customers can set up a bookings page completely for free. It can be integrated or linked to via a homepage or an email so that they can send out a booking link and show their availability to their customers. If you want to find out more about these kind of features, I would highly recommend that you book one of these trainings that me and Lars are offering, and that will be sent out via link tomorrow, the booking link for those. So make sure that you book us for a separate training if you want to deep dive into Microsoft 365 Business Standard. But today is mainly going to be around the feature additions to Office 2021. Of course, there are different types of offices. We do have the home and student licenses. We do have the personal license from Microsoft 365 and the family license of Microsoft 365. But these licenses are mainly intended, or solely intended, I would like to stretch it. They're solely intended for private use. They are not tested to live up to the expectations that need to be met from a commercial user. We are of course talking about GDPR and other type of regulations, which demands that you have a system that stores your data in a way that has been tested with over 3,000 different tests, ensuring that this data meets the bottom line, the baseline security expectations from businesses. So therefore, it's easy to conclude that a commercial user has to be on Office Home and Business or Microsoft 365 Business Standard. But as mentioned, let's look into exactly what Office 2021 is all about, because it is still a one-time purchase. It is still intended both for at-home or work usage. It includes the classical Office apps, and it is meant to be installed on a single device. This license is purchased as a single-time purchase where you keep the license for the whole extent of your lifetime. But Office needs to be modernized like everything else, because even though we traditionally see the Office user as someone who only has the core needs, we acknowledge the fact that they want to evolve with the commercial landscape at large too. So basically, with Office, we are still offering a solution for SMBs who want a simple way to organize their business. It's about having the core applications and not having to pay any premium for things they will not benefit from. It's about meeting the needs of businesses who prefer the license-based model, where they do not want to sign up on subscription plan models, or businesses being in regulated industries. One good example is, of course, different banking companies who simply cannot move towards the cloud and therefore need to have a Office license, or police, for example, where the police authority in their cars needs to have a local license and not anything that interacts with the cloud. This kind of brings up the importance of realizing that it's not about the company size that determines whether they should purchase Office or Microsoft 365. It's not about them being 10 or 15 or 2 employees. It's about their needs. The final part is, of course, those who want to supplement with other apps. So throughout this slide, we can, of course, see that there are a broad variety of customers who want to purchase and already is purchasing Office. But with this breadth of customers, we also want to make sure that those who want to be collaborative, those who can be on the cloud, are able to be so. With Office 2021, what we are doing is that we are preparing it for collaboration features. We are preparing it for the type of content creation and usage of AI to enable your creativity. We are enabling it to be more organized and easier track and manage your devices through the cloud, and with an updated lifecycle policy, ensuring that you get necessary patches and updates and also feature additions. This means that Office 2021 is a great SKU whether you want to be completely on-prem, because Office is still 100% on-prem as a single purchase. You are not moving towards the cloud by purchasing Office. However, if you are purchasing Office, you are able to move to the cloud. And I think that's a really important message to remember, that you are able to move to the cloud if you wish to do so. So instead of having Office and supplementing with different cloud tools when you need to co-author a document, you can instead do it straight in the Office apps today. So with that being said, we are actually going to wrap up the Office session. And once again, if you want to learn more, there are two great alternatives. One being Expert Zone, which is Microsoft's e-learning platform. Right now, if you go to Expert Zone, you do a course, you take a screenshot and send it from the final page of the course, send it to my email there, v-sebastianl@microsoft.com, and then register your shipping details. We will send you a starter kit from Microsoft. So that is one of the best ways to find out curated Microsoft content. The other thing, if you're curious exactly on what feature additions we have done to Office and you've already found out more on Expert Zone, is to book the notorious meeting with either me or Lars, where we will go through and have a deep dive in a focus area of your choice. So contact me. Make sure that we set up a booking and that we look through exactly what Office or Microsoft 365 brings to the customers, or go to Expert Zone, or best of all, do both. So with that said, what we want to do now is, of course, broaden our views again, because we want to secure the endpoints, and we are able to do so by meeting the minimum requirements from commercial users. Those are being on a license that is meant and purposed for commercial use. Office 2021 Home and Business is one of those licenses. Another part of security, as the very broad spectra and area that it is of course back to servers. Microsoft are today not only launching Office 2021, we have also already in August launched a new enhanced server experience, because most companies out there are dependent on processing data. They have heavy sets of data that they are running on, sadly enough, frequently legacy servers. So with Server 2022, we are able to help companies migrate with confidence, getting a better and more smooth transition towards a modernized and secure solution. And this is, of course, something that I think is immensely important to talk to SMB customers around, because it's easy to see server as something separate that is detached from everything else in their business. But I would much rather see server as something very much centralized in a secure ecosystem, because if you have a server, you need to ensure that it meets the minimum requirements. So Lars, would you mind telling us a bit more about the new Windows Server 2022?
Of course, and thanks, Sebastian. Yeah, so like with Windows Server 2022, Microsoft, we are bringing in the latest upgrades and of course the latest new features for the server infrastructures. Windows Server 2022 is a cloud-native solution, but it's built it has an on-premise base, which aligns for the best possible hybrid cloud infrastructure. As we talked about earlier, so many of our SMB customers are still running on-premise technologies, but the momentum toward hybrid solution is expected to grow more than fivefold in the coming years. So in order to optimize the on-premise footprint, but also like reduce the overhead costs. Almost 50% of SMBs report that the largest IT security challenge is for them to keep their data secure. That is followed by preventing data loss and increasing employee security awareness that we talked about earlier as well. And if like a stunning 70% of all SMBs are focused on digital transformation. So ranging from deploying modern flexible infrastructure to incorporating advanced IT-enabled capabilities. So we're looking at an on-premise solution with hybrid capabilities that also incorporate cloud services. So if we look at the next slide, we can see that Microsoft are here we're looking at advanced multi-layer security, and with that we are trying to elevate the security levels of our customer server solutions to reach new highs, right? Hybrid capabilities will extend our customers' data centers to Azure for greater IT efficiency. And for the application platform, Microsoft are empowering developers to deploy modern applications and also to modernize their existing apps faster than ever. Now, when we're talking in the next slide about security, Microsoft, when they talk security, we talk about protecting, defending, and preventing. So protect with hardware root of trust, defend against firmware level attacks, and prevent access to unverified code. Thanks to Microsoft's extensive partnership with all our OEMs, the Windows Server 2022 users will have the security that is approved with software instances, right? So it's all that we're selling through our OEM and through our partners at Tech Data is optimized, it's pre-tested, and it's pre-installed. So it is the most secure solution for our SMB customers. And then also we are bringing in multi-layered security features across OS and hardware via the secure core technology. With secure core technology, Microsoft have implemented threat protection achieved through our trusted platform module 2.0 and System Guard, which actually just boot up Windows Server with a minimum risk from firmware-based vulnerabilities. Looking at the next slide, we're talking about hybrid capabilities, and which is very, very interesting because, of course, as I talked about before, more than 70% of all requests we see now have are requesting towards hybrid solutions. We're talking about hybrid converged infrastructure that is linked to the cloud. So basically, we are extending with our hybrid capabilities in Windows Server 2022. We're extending the Azure management tools to on-premise and multi-cloud solutions. So it's no longer just a cloud solution, but it is brought into our on-premise and multi-cloud solutions as well. So most customers find their current biggest challenge is to manage a multi-cloud solution using consistent tools and reporting across the environment, right? And this becomes even more imperative when handling modern cloud solutions along with legacy apps running on older on-prem solutions. Talked about that previously as well. Azure takes a comprehensive approach and it offers a unique hybrid capability that gives customers the flexibility to innovate anywhere in their environment. This is all enabled by Azure Arc, and we bring Azure services to any existing infrastructure, including other clouds as well. So we do this in order to take full advantage of cloud benefits everywhere, such as scalability, fast deployment, and up-to-date cloud innovation. And customers can do all this using Azure Arc as a single control plane to seamlessly manage and secure IT resources. Within the Windows Server 2022, we actually have in-place upgrades that allows you to seamlessly migrate all your old legacy systems to the newest versions of Windows Server. This is very, very important and something that most of our SMBs really are reliant on. We also have other things that I haven't put into this presentation, but we're of course talking about storage migration service. We're talking about accelerating app modernization. Containers remain the focus of Microsoft as they are extensively used in modern software development. It makes development and deployment easy and cost effective. And with Windows Server 2022, we will have faster download times and better performance thanks to all the compressed Windows container image sizes. Windows Server 2022 will reduce the overhead in running a software-defined network with seamless and easy integration with our Kubernetes services. And this will basically just make it easier to create virtual infrastructure and to use Windows Server. And for all this, we have the perfect management tool, which is Windows Admin Center. The revamped Windows Admin Center makes management so much easier, all the way from containerization to deploying virtual infrastructure. All this can be done either in Azure or on-prem. It is the same tool, so we are relying on that easy management tool that also is familiar to our end customers. So all in all, the best secure version we have up to date up till now, and it's easy to manage, and with all the hybrid capabilities moving and also being capable of running Azure services on-prem. So it's a little bit about where we're at with Windows Server 2022, Sebastian. I think you're muted.
Thank you, Lars. That's a very, very important point. And as I always say, once technical issues occur, which they of course always happen to do, it's unfortunate that no one works for a technology company. But yeah, with that being said, it is a great pleasure that you wanted to take time, Lars, and you also, Alexander, to present to us today. Of course, this is a learning progress. Today, we only have time to present you with a teaser with the possibility to book us for your own training sessions. So reach out to me and Lars, or even Alexander, if you want to learn more from him, because he's a knowledgeable guy. Then we can set up a meeting and deep dive into the focus area of your choice. But before we wrap up and actually talk about the elephant in the room or the box in the room, I would like to just ask you, Lars, if you were able to take one thing with you from today, what would that be?
If I were talking about Windows Server 2022, I would say that security is the main issue right now. So making sure that all our customers are up to date and running on the newest versions of an operating system from Microsoft, that is the key pillar. That is the key message to all. And then, of course, talking about hybrid capabilities, etc., but making sure that we are secure first and foremost. Then everything else will come like gradually, innovations and new features, etc. Yeah.
Very, very good standpoint. And I think what we should see it as is a meeting baseline security needs and as a what we call in Sweden grädde på moset, as a little bit of cherry on the ice cream. You'll be able to get some really nice features too, and that goes with both the modernized Office 2021 and Windows Server 2022. Alexander, if you could give your tip for people who want to help their customers manage one of the problems that we've discussed today, what would that tip be?
I will take the opportunity to tell everybody that utilize Tech Data's wonderful cloud security and software team, as we call now, ranging from everything, not only if you need quotes or pricing or that everyday stuff. How can we add these solutions in our offerings? How can we tweak these solutions so it better fits our offerings and the customer needs? How can we help with strategic tip? How can we help with training? Not only product training, but also business development. Don't hesitate to contact me on behalf of yourself. So that is, I think that's the key message for our partners listening in today. Regardless where you are in the process, just don't hesitate to contact us.
I think to conclude and wrap up in my the way what I would put it is like this: we don't have any other friends, so please, we are depending on you, and we love talking to you. So don't hesitate to reach out, because it makes our work life so much more fun being a part of your team in an extent. Add us on LinkedIn, throw us an email. Throw us a message on LinkedIn, but don't add us. It's completely fine. We don't judge, but we'd be happy to connect with you. So with that being said, take this opportunity and get some more learning via Expert Zone and via the possibility to book a separate learning occasion with me, Lars, Alexander. With that, we are talking about the box in the room, because today we've launched 2 products, and that's quite good for a single day, a Tuesday in October. But we also have something else that we want to celebrate. Unfortunately, this is something that we would have loved to share with all of you participating today. But we simply, due to not being able to meet you just yet, we have to dig in and you can still get to see. But basically, today we wish to celebrate the launch of the new Windows 11. And whenever there's a launch and whenever there's something to celebrate, you always bring cake. So what we've done here is, of course, that we want to celebrate with you by eating some cake. If you want cake, we thoroughly hope that we can meet soon in the future together, Tech Data, Microsoft, and all of you resellers physically and share some cake together. Other than that, I recommend book a meeting and we'll send you a voucher for some coffee and some cinnamon bun. But for the time being, this is simply what we have to put up with. But I think it's quite nice anyways, at least from our studio perspective. With that being said, join our next webinar because we are going to tune in and look even more onto Windows 11, the reason why this cake exists. And it's going to be quite messy from now on. So thanks a lot for participating and I wish you a great Tuesday. Goodbye from Microsoft and Tech Data.
Have a great week.